Bev Jozwiak, and this is Watercolor. And I normally just dive in and start painting. That's kind of how I teach best, is just by painting and talking. But I do want to talk a little bit about materials. All of my paints are Winsor Newton. So today I am going to do what I call my law of thirds, and basically that means the top section will be done, the middle section will be less done, and the bottom will be even less. And it really isn't exact. Like, I love this skirt, so I'm probably going to do quite a bit on this skirt. Pretty much nothing on my brush but water, and take that paint, because it is thick. I can take it and go out into those areas.
What color did you use there? Sap?
It was sap, and it had yellow ochre and also a little bit of cad yellow in it. And in places I went into the sap with the French. And quinacridone gold is really pretty with it too. It makes a pretty, I'll stick a little of that right here. Get a little varied color there. I don't want to go too far down her shirt before, I said this the other day about don't paint your whole thing and then say what to do with the background. Once I get through with these balloons, then I'll start into this background and come down. And it's sort of got that same color in the hat. And this is really more colors than I might use in most, but I kind of feel like with this subject, it's sort of fitting. She's whimsical, it's whimsical. Background there, everything changes, and it's all relative, so we'll see. And that's because you put that fourth one in and it gets too much and it doesn't look right. I've used all those colors in the painting, so I'm probably lean it a little bit to the blue. Kind of repeats those colors down there. And I don't mind. I've been trying to kind of think, as I've been painting, what am I going to name this? And I feel like her own sense of style. And I did miscut out the little, there's like little holes in these boots that are yellow underneath, because I didn't want to have to paint over that. So other than those strings and this, that's the only place I did that. But so even though this is loose down here, you still want some amount of detail. And so this, I'll have to paint like the edges, of this too, like shadow on this. I wouldn't want to leave it that flat white. But I kind of just wanted to show you like what I do to finish it off.
Do you always go back in with pencil?
No, not always. With these law of third ones, most always, yes. Because this one didn't get as out of the line as a lot of them, but like here where it's out, I want to tighten that back up to make some sense again. And like I didn't have anything painted on that side, so I want her socks and this side of this. the eye, it looks almost totally black, except for that little highlight. And if you study them and really look at them, they have life in them, and they have color in them, and you know that's true for that saying about painting what you really see versus what you think you know. You know, you think everything has round pupils, and like goats are square, they're rectangles. And, you know, some are perfectly round, some are sometimes cats are, you know, like the crescent. And so you really have to pay attention. And if you can't see it in your photograph, go to the internet, look it up and look and see what color, or just guess and put some life in it. So I'm assuming that his eyes are going to be a brown, because I can see just a hint of it there. So I'm making it a lot more burnt sienna than what it's showing. And I am going to leave my highlight, but I am going to do in every animal I paint, no matter how little, I use some kind of a pupil and an iris and a highlight. I shouldn't say that. If it's little tiny, it may not, but for the most part, most of these. And when you look at the photograph, you'll see that most of them are gone too, so you don't really care. I wanted that shape under there more than I cared about keeping those. There's hardly any places on this that I see where to leave the whole whites of the paper. So he's got these little nubs too. I think that's done. I think, I maybe not the. Yeah. Yay, I'm done. This is going to be a painting, hopefully more about painting shapes and instead of objects than it is about painting a person. And that's something that I think should follow through everything you do. If you don't learn anything else from me, that's a big thing. Paint shapes, not objects. And by that, I mean, you know, painting the shadow sides and the shapes of her face versus painting the eyes, the nose, the mouth. The shapes are more important than the objects are. So if you look around at people, the upper lip, and this is general rule, but the upper lip is darker, and then part of the bottom lip, and there seems to always be a light, whichever way the light's coming, on this side, and so I leave that as, if I absolutely don't like the face, then I usually don't go any farther, because there's kind of no sense. I think it's going to turn out so far, but. So this still doesn't look right, but I think once the eyes start coming in, I'm pretty sure this space is still going to work. And for brown eyes, I usually start with burnt sienna. And if they're green, basically it's manganese blue hue mixed with a little yellow ochre. So, and I'm not really a formula painter, so I don't always stick to my own rules. And when I first do the eyes, they look horrid, that doesn't look good. But I think as when you get the shadow in and you get the pupil in, and then it ends up working. So I start with that, and then when I do the I may have to wait just a second for that to dry for a minute. I kind of let it dry, and then I do the people, and I always try to make sure and leave a little highlight. In all my animals and people, even if it doesn't show in the photograph, it does in this one, but I try to leave a little highlight in the pupil. So I'm going to put a little more cad red on that chin to make that chin come forward. And then you have to look at each person, to see if she doesn't have a real heavy lid. Some people do. Asians hardly have any at all. So there's just differences in people that. And then basically I just kind of take a little of the muddy paint from there and put a shadow line kind of underneath this lid to help set this eye down in.